All right, welcome. It is a Monday, the 22nd day of September in the Lord's year 2014. Excuse me, and I'm J. Michael McCoy, and we are back with another edition of Recovery Monday. Lila Stafford is here from Powell CDC. What's the phone number down there again?
263-2424.
263-2424. Now, what's the purpose of this show? Well, the purpose of this show is to help folks understand the different hurts, habits, and hang-ups that people have. It might be alcoholism. It might be drug abuse. It might be, what's the food thing called?
Eating disorders.
Eating disorders. It might be anger issues. And we don't think those people are probably listening. But we know you are, and you love someone like that. You know someone who's got, quote unquote, those issues. And so what we do on this show is we share people's story, and we give you an opportunity to hear it, as I like to say, fresh from the horse's mouth, exactly what struggle is in those addictions and those isms. Alcoholism, drug addiction, all those things. Bob Montserrat is here, the retired Bob Montserrat. Bob, how you doing?
Good, good.
Still like being retired?
Yeah, I'm just busier.
You're busier. Taking care of that horse farm.
Yep.
Ryan's producing, and today's special guest is Michael Blake. And Michael's got a great story. I've heard just enough of it to know that I wanted to share it with you. And Michael, welcome to Recovery Monday.
Thanks.
Now, you are how old?
I'm 24.
24. And are you from the central Iowa area?
Yep, born and raised in Des Moines.
Okay, what high school?
I went to Urbandale up until my freshman year, and then Des Moines Christian my sophomore and junior year.
Okay. And what was your drug of choice?
Heroin was, but I did it all. Heroin and marijuana, basically.
Okay. Not alcohol.
I did that when there was no heroin left.
Did you start out with marijuana?
I started off with, I started off with drinking NyQuil every day.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
it went into alcohol, and then it went into weed.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then to heroin.
Yeah, it was very progressive, obviously, but yeah, it was NyQuil, alcohol, weed, pills, and then eventually went to acid, shrooms, and then I started shooting up when I was 17.
Yeah.
And
So when did this all start?
this all started when one of the major fallbacks was when I was 14. My mother passed away very unexpectedly.
I'm sorry.
And she just went to the hospital for knee surgery and just passed away in the Methodist hospital where my dad works at. And I started...
Was that from the anesthesia?
What she had was amyloidosis. It's a rare heart condition. They didn't know she had it, but they gave her a medicine that she didn't even know she was allergic to. And so it wasn't the hospital's fault at all. But they gave her this medicine. It triggered off that heart condition.
And she died on the table.
Yep. And so...
Wow. I'm sorry, man. That's got to be tough.
It was tough at that moment. Life became a little bit more real to me because, people do actually die. And so that reality just hit me in the face. And what I actually started doing was I self-mutilated constantly. And so...
Cutting.
Yep, cutting. That was... It started off as more of a... I just wanted to forget.
Okay.
And then it became kind of attention-seeking.
Yeah.
And then it kind of became as almost like an endorphin rush, and I almost kind of got addicted to that.
Wow.
And so, but then I started drinking NyQuil, and I stopped doing that, and that was, 7th grade when she passed away. I went to my freshman year at high school, and I began living secretly the gay lifestyle as well.
Okay.
I got sent to Des Moines Christian because my parents thought it would straighten me out at first. And so, and it didn't really work. It actually made it worse. And actually, it was at Des Moines Christian was where I met my pot dealer.
Okay.
And
a kid at Des Moines Christian was selling pot.
Yeah. Yep.
Amazing.
And so, you think the kids there are sheltered, but they're not.
Yeah.
They were to a certain degree where, and before I say this, like the kids at Des Moines Christian, eventually they became very compassionate towards me. But at first, they wanted nothing to do with me because of the lifestyle they knew I was living at that time. Kind of sit and eat at lunch tables with them.
Michael, how did they know the lifestyle you were living?
There was a girl, and she asked me why I was there. My parents told me not to tell anybody, but I did. I told this girl, and she said, "Oh, no, don't tell anybody." I said, "Well, I came out of the closet once. I'm not going to go back in." Was my mentality.
Yeah.
And I was like, she's like, "Well, just pretend we're dating." I think she secretly liked me. That's why she said that. And I said, "No, that's all right." And the next day, everybody knew at school somehow.
So she told everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so her and I, though, actually became good friends after, a couple months. But yeah, so everyone found out. I had to eat in the hallways upstairs. I was too proud to tell the teachers or my parents or anything. So eventually there was 3 kids, though, that came up to me and apologized on behalf of the school, even though probably most of the school didn't really like it still. And I became very rebellious at Des Moines Christian because I was hearing the gospel, and that was very contrary to what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And
Funny how the accuser works that way.
yeah, yep,
He's not going to let you hear it for what it's worth, so he's going to give you anger.
yep.
Yeah,
And
make sure you come close to that mic. There you go.
yeah, and another interesting thing I learned there was that they were, they were very judgmental. At the same time, though, I was judging them probably even worse than they were to me, because I was judging Christ based off some of his professed followers,
Yeah.
which was wrong.
Well, the worst thing about Christians, or the worst thing about Christianity, are the Christians.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
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 And that's totally how I felt then.
Yeah.
So, but I started dating a boy when I was at Des Moines Christian, and my parents found out, and
Now, I want to stop you for just a second. You keep saying your parents. Did your dad remarry?
Yeah, I'm sorry. My dad remarried. It was somewhat fast for me. But we didn't get along at first, my stepmom and I, but he got married within the year and a half, 2
Okay.
years, within my mom's death. And so, she moved all the way from Minnesota, and she lives with us still, or lives with him still.
Okay.
But yeah, so my parents found out about a boy I was dating, and they didn't kick me out, but they said, "We don't want you to live under our household if you're continuing this lifestyle. You're constantly rebelling against us." And they didn't want me to leave, but they chose to discipline in such a way that I thought was unloving at first. And so I left.
It sounds fear-based to me.
Yeah, there's a lot. My parents have grown a lot from where they were too, not just me, and they very loving people now, and always were. I just failed to see it.
It's amazing how smart mom and dad get as you get older.
Yeah. Oh, I know, right?
I mean, my dad's 85, and I think he's a wizard now.
Yeah. And so I left. I left all my friends because my friends didn't want me to move in with this guy because he had kind of a background. And so I stopped talking to them, my whole family, for 10 months. And it was probably the most awful thing ever. But
Was this guy the same age as you?
he was a year older than me. And
how'd you meet him?
through, that's a great question. I don't remember how I met him.
You don't have to answer it. That's okay.
I honestly can't
So
remember. I think
you're
it was
in
at Pizza
high
Hut.
school, and you're moving in with this guy?
Yeah, I dropped out of high school.
You dropped out of high school. Okay.
Yeah. Moved in with this guy, and he was, of course, you never know this at first, but he was very abusive and verbally, physically, and I was a hippie, so I was very not fighting,
Yeah.
and he hated that even more. So but he was very involved in pills, and that's where I got involved in pills, to forget about whatever fights we're going through. And eventually got back into cutting. I finally had enough guts to just leave Adel after 10 months, came back to Des Moines, started talking to my dad a little bit more, relationship still shaky. Moved in with a friend though, and lived with her for a while. Then I moved in with my friend Julia and Josh, and that's when I started shooting up heroin. My friend Julia was just in the kitchen and she was doing it, and she asked me if I wanted to, and I said, sure. I'll try it at least once. Well, that didn't work out so well.
Yeah, it's hard to put that needle down.
Yes, it is. I started doing that in the kitchen and with her, and ever since then, the life of myself just kind of went downwards, and lived with her in this duplex for a year.
Were you working?
I was working at, I was working. I can't remember quite exactly where. There's Quiznos and Old Navy and a bunch of different.
So you had money to buy this?
Yeah, money to buy this, and I had spent. Unfortunately, my mom passed away. Social Security checks. I got $2,000 each month and spent all of it. All of it's gone. I'll never see it again. So, for a whole year. So that was $24,000 in my arm. Within probably a year period, and not only in my arm. I did shrooms and all the other stuff too, but it was always heroin. That was my first love, so to speak. That was kind of how I viewed that was my idol. Heroin. And I basically worshipped her.
Michael Blake is our guest today, 24 years old, from our area. He has been clean and sober for 2.5 years. And as we continue our conversation with him today, we'll find out about that journey and what he's doing with his life now, and the ministry that you have, because you have a ministry.
Correct.
And we'll get an opportunity to learn more about that. Now, I want to turn to you, Bob, for a minute. You were I guess you're still a forensic scientist, right? You're just not active? You're not obedient?
I'm just not working for the state anymore.
Okay, but you're still a forensic scientist.
Yes.
What is heroin?
Well, it is a narcotic, and it's an inexpensive, basically, way of getting hooked, and it's very, very addictive, and tough to break. And
It's man-made?
Well, yeah, you can get synthetic. A lot of the drugs that are out there is synthetic and derived from opium, and they make all different narcotic drugs from that.
Okay.
And so we have a problem here in the state with heroin too.
Yeah. So heroin comes from poppies.
Yeah.
And poppy seeds.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just buy poppy seeds and try to get it that way.
Okay, so what do you do with the poppy seeds?
Well, you eat them and they put them on bagels and that kind of thing.
I'm gonna hit him.
So
I mean to make heroin.
that's something that I'm not going to talk about on the air.
Okay.
But
I respect that.
But there are ways that people can go on the web and look things up to see if they want to do that. But it's readily available. It's out there.
And what does heroin do to the mind and body of the user?
Well, it's physiologically and psychologically addicting. It's not, some may be psychologically addicting, that it's easier to get off some drugs, but others are going to be physiologically, so that you, similar to alcohol in the sense that if you are a big-time drinker and you cut it off, you start to get the delirium tremors, the DTs. And so there is that physiological addiction that is, once you don't have it, your body is screaming for it, and it's pretty miserable thing to have to experience to break it.
I've never met a heroin addict who tried it and just left it.
And didn't like it.
Right. Yeah. It's like the first time they
That's it.
shoot up, that's it. They're hooked.
All right, Lila Stafford from Powell is here. Of course, Bob Montserrat, our cat in the hat, watching the chat. Our special guest today is Michael Blake, 24 years old, sober 2.5 years, and he's got an amazing story. So stick around and keep listening. Ryan's producing, and I'm J. Michael McCoy. And if I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. I love this job. Couldn't do it without you. Right here on 99.3 KTIA, Iowa.
father who is headed toward another heart attack. A woman who struggles daily with diabetes and her memory. A boy whose headaches keep him out of school. A mother who one morning discovers a lump. A girl whose condition defies diagnosis. You come to us because you need answers, but you also need more. You need understanding of what you're going through. You need comfort. You need to be treated as an individual, not a condition. You need to be included in your own care. You are the point of everything we do. That's why we're changing to Unity Point Health. It's a model of care that will help us work better together, where the physician who knows you best takes the lead, coordinating your care through every step, from the hospital to specialists to rehabilitation to health services in the home and in the community, to making sure the treatments are effective. By working as a team, we surround you with care, helping you manage your health and your conditions, guiding you to making better choices and living a healthier life. The point of Unity is you. Unity Point Health.
Get away from us, you mean old credit card. We don't have any more money. We're in trouble now. Save us! Help! Somebody save us! Somebody help! Help! Save us!
Hi, I'm Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of Des Moines. If your credit card's a little too animated, give us a call.
Hooray! We're saved! Consumer Credit, you're our hero!
See 'em here, see 'em there. You got bad credit, we don't care. Metro Ford's on everywhere. Metro Ford's on everywhere.
Visit emetroford.com for your guaranteed credit approval. Good credit, bad credit, no credit. Everybody drives with guaranteed credit approval at emetroford.com.
Metro Ford's on everywhere.
Visit emetroford.com today.
If Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of America was your personal webmaster, Tom would filter out all bad debt emails. If Tom was your mailman, you'd never get any debt reduction junk mail. If Tom Coates was a lineman, he'd block any phone calls offering to reduce your credit card debt.
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America, and we're still your best choice for credit counseling. We're local, we're accountable, and we can do more. You make the call when the time's right for you.
When it comes to competition, there really is none for Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Welcome back to this edition of Recovery Monday. Lila Stafford, we call her Coco Stafford. She's here as a resident counselor.
Yeah.
Right? You're one of the
You're
addiction.
going to say resident.
No.
Just plain resident.
You're one of the addiction counselors there.
Correct.
And you have a passion for this because you've lived it.
Yes.
You've been
yeah.
sober how many years?
28.
28. And your husband's been sober for 24?
25 now.
20. Oh, that's right. He just got his
just had a
25 year.
birthday.
And you and your husband are very, very active in the recovery world.
Yeah.
Why?
I had someone ask me the other day, this girl that needed some help, and she goes, "What do you do besides help people?"
No.
And I thought, well, that's about it.
Yeah.
You know, because my time off, I'm helping people.
Yeah.
Too. So.
And you're now a new grandma.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Bob Montserrat, our cat in the hat, watching the chat. Ryan's producing. I'm Mac, and our very special guest today is Michael Blake. Michael is from the Central Iowa area, 24 years old, 2.5 years sober. And sober means to you no heroin or nothing at all, or
Nothing at all. Right now, I'm trying to slow off smoking. I use the e-cigarettes, but
Okay.
trying to get off that as well. So.
Good.
And so your mother's death, how did that change your life? Because prior to her death, my guess is you didn't do any. You didn't dabble in any of this stuff.
Nope.
You were a happy, cheerful young boy.
Yeah, I was always a very introverted person, but much more so after my mother's death, and the whole world just turned upside down. And to be honest with you, I don't know if I'm repressing something or what, but it always used to bother me is before my mother's death, I don't really remember a lot. When she died, though, I remember that day clearly, and every day afterwards pretty well.
Yeah.
Until I started using heroin. But
now, do you have siblings?
I have one sister. She is 7 years older than me.
Okay.
So
she wasn't even in high school when your mom passed.
Nope, she would have been. Well, no, she was graduate from high school. She was 21.
Okay.
So
was she in college?
Yeah, she was going to college, and then the death kind of made her homesick, and so she stopped going. But she actually does in-home daycare now.
Okay.
Services and has 3 kids.
So did you feel like you were going through this alone?
Yeah, because my dad married, gone. Sister got married around the same time, gone. But there's kind of some fault on my part too. I never reached out and said, "Oh, I'm hurting."
But I think that's hard. Is that
Yeah.
my mother was killed when I was in 7th grade, and it was the same thing. It was like I know I needed to talk about. Oh, no, I didn't know I needed to talk about it. I just thought it was easier not to talk about it, but it was very sad not to talk.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I was too. I didn't think it was important to talk about. Nobody talked about it with me, so why should I have to talk about it with anybody else?
Yeah.
How about your mother's parents? Were they still around then?
Yep, and they still are today.
Okay. They didn't reach out and try to comfort you, or?
They may have.
Okay.
That's the problem with my memory now today is because of the drugs. There's a lot of things that are kind of a little hazy.
Yeah.
But there was a point where, I hit my rock bottom with the drugs that a lot of people reached out to me, and I reached out to them back to steal from them.
Wow.
But so.
Yeah, that's the life of a drug dealer or a drug user.
Yeah, because, eventually when I lived in this duplex, when I started shooting up heroin, that's when lying, manipulation, stealing. I eventually got so low when I got rid of all my Social Security money that I did eventually start selling myself for drugs so that I could get high.
Yeah.
Do anything to get it, basically.
Explain to me. I've never done heroin, and I probably won't. Never say never, right? No, I'm not gonna. I don't do drugs. There was a day though, in my life. Tell me the euphoric rush. Tell me the feeling when that heroin hits your vein and into your bloodstream.
Okay.
Because from TV, it looks like it's almost automatic.
Yeah, you see movies like Pulp Fiction, and you see Uma Thurman and it's kind of like that. It depends on the type of heroin that you get, and what they put in it. But with me, I don't know why. Usually, heroin's a downer, so you kind of get in your chair and just almost like a stoner.
Yeah.
But with me, actually, when I did it, I actually acted as if I was on meth. Like I would clean. It was a euphoric feeling. Hard to explain kind of feeling, but I would do a lot of cleaning, a lot of walking, couldn't eat food. When I did eat food, I would throw up. In fact, I weigh about 160 now. I weighed about 130 when I was at the end of my ropes with it. So it was.
But it was an escape for you.
Yeah, it was an escape for me. And then after a while, like I started getting more attention from people by doing it, and it did become an attention grabber for other people. So it was kind of both for me. But eventually it was just, I just want to forget because heroin had killed one of my friends when I was living in that duplex, not Julia, but Josh. So I moved out of there. I stayed.
He died from an overdose?
He actually hung, well, no, he didn't die from an overdose. He wanted to get drugs and he couldn't. We wouldn't give it to him. We kicked him out because he stole $200 from us. And unfortunately, he hung himself behind the Iowa School of Beauty.
Oh, God, I remember all about that.
Remember that?
Yes.
Josh.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I took that really hard because I was the one that actually stole the money and the drugs, and it wasn't him. And so I took that really hard for a minute.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on. So you stole money to buy drugs, and you blamed him, knowing it was you that had done it, and then he goes out and kills himself.
He did not kill himself because of that primarily, but because I manipulated my way out of it. He had left, and we would not keep in contact with him because I manipulated my way out of it into making everyone think he did it. And he couldn't get drugs that day, and he was so distraught about it. And we know this because he left a note in his shoe.
Okay.
He's so distraught about not getting the drugs that he wanted that night. But I think I used to really blame myself primarily for it, and I don't know if I can do that anymore because there's a lot of factors in it. But I'd probably take some fault for that.
Well, but it's not your fault.
No, it's not. But
I mean, it's not your fault at all.
Right.
Not one iota.
Yeah.
Okay. You understand that though, Michael?
Yeah. No, I do today.
Okay.
But back then, it did not click whatsoever. I took that really hard because I kept that a secret for the longest time, and I left. I eventually, Julie and her and I were like two peas in a pod, and we actually, to leave Iowa so we could get away from heroin, we hitchhiked all the way to Colorado, to Arizona, back to Colorado, Texas, back to Colorado, and then back here to Iowa. Basically heroin just called our name back. We didn't have any contacts in those other states. That's why we went there. Then we were like, nope. So that happened for about 6 months.
Now, were you and her physically involved?
No, because I was just attracted to men at that time.
Okay. So you guys were like buddies.
Yeah, we were basically like, she was basically like the sister I
never had.
Never had to do drugs with.
Okay.
And I was like the brother that she never had, and we're very close. We did everything together and lived together. And
are you friends today with her?
No. She knows about what I do today, ministry wise, and she no.
Chooses not to be a part of that.
Correct.
Because why? I can answer that for you.
She's a very I love her to death. She's a very anti-gospel person.
Yeah. Yeah, it's guilt and shame.
Yeah, I think that's a large part to do with it too as well, because there's another friend just like her, Bethany. Love her. She's awesome, and I wish she would talk to me someday. She's married now to Sabrina, and she knows how I've turned away from the gay lifestyle and through other friends, and she no longer wants to.
Yeah, she doesn't want to associate with you.
Yeah, and that's fine. But
yeah, that happens.
Yep.
Michael Blake is our guest today. Now, 2.5 years since you've done any drugs or alcohol.
Correct.
All right. How long have you been out of the gay lifestyle?
2.5 years.
2.5?
Yeah, I will not lie. There's struggles with it still, but I by no means consider myself gay anymore.
And you abandoned that lifestyle because of a relationship you created with Jesus.
Right. Yeah, I kind of go to Philippians 3 where Paul talks about he counts all things as loss, everything as rubbish, which that word means literally dung, for the sake of Christ. Christ also says to deny ourselves, and I wanted to lose the identity that I had with heroin, with addiction, with homosexuality, and leave that behind so that I could gain Christ, because the surpassing value of knowing Christ is far greater than anything else. Yeah.
So are you still attracted to men? Well, you kind of said a little ago, you kind of are a little bit.
There's still some struggles, yeah.
Okay. Have you gained any attraction for females?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I would love to have a family someday.
Okay.
A wife, kids. Right at this moment, I've only been walking with the Lord for 2 years, and I think that it would be smart and best interest to get my feet just a little bit more planted in my walk with Christ before that happens. But yeah.
And right now you help run a transitional home.
Correct.
For people who are getting out of rehab.
Yeah, what happens is there is obviously a very big population of homeless people in Des Moines, and a large portion of that is young adults. And the transition house that I run with Ryan is 18 to 22-year-old age range, and some come out of rehab, some come out of prison or jail, or some come right from the streets.
Okay.
Some come, we've had one guy from Tennessee come. But we offer a discipleship program, basically.
Who decides if they can get into this house?
My boss and I, basically, they come to the center, or they can fill out an application online at freedomforyouth.org, or they can come to the center and fill out an application and get a tour. Very big campus. I don't know if you've ever seen it before, but yeah, it's a very big campus. We have a welding shop, a wood shop, an art studio, a coffee shop.
Yeah, it's cool. My
basketball court.
Our men's group brings food on Thursday evenings to the girls.
Oh, okay.
The girls class.
Cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, we do it once a month.
Okay, cool.
So I've been there several times, and
What's it called?
Freedom for Youth.
Okay, cool.
And you know where it is? It's right there at Martin Luther King and Hickman.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a wonder. Mark Nelson, who's from our church, walked away from a distinguished career in the corporate world and started this. All right, Michael Blake's my guest. We're coming back. The rest of the story is here for you. And thanks for listening to KTIA Iowa, powered by WebcastOneLive.com.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershad.
I'm administrative manager.
I'm the senior technician
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, you know, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be, it's your home.
You know, it's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're going to do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's going to be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're going to do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed right or it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you going to say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're going to be listening. They're going to want to know what your challenges are. Then they're going to come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you know, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me. But is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going though, I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm gonna take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed right or it's free or 100% money back.
Enough said.
All right, welcome back to Recovery Monday on this 22nd day of September in the Lord's year 2014. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and this is Recovery Monday. Lila Stafford in the house from Powell CDC. And do you hear stories like this before?
Yeah.
This is kind of your life, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what happens if somebody doesn't get off heroin?
It's just like alcohol. It's a progressive disease. They'll die eventually. I mean, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Dangerous stuff.
Well, we just had that movie started.
What?
Died. Hoffman? Is that it?
Yeah, he was in the Hunger Game movies.
Right.
Yep.
Or
I don't know anything about that.
He was the main character in Capote.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Philip
Seymour.
Seymour Hoffman.
Seymour
Yep.
Hoffman, right. I love that guy. Great actor. Yeah, he died from heroin.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, he was in one of my favorite movies of all time, and I bet nobody here has seen it, called... What's it called? It's a flower that starts with M.
Magnolia.
What?
Magnolia?
Yeah, have you seen the movie?
No, but I know what it is.
Yeah, have you seen it?
I've seen Steel Magnolias.
No. Magnolia is it's an incredible movie. It's rather dark. It's rather honest. It's 4 or 5 little things going on in people's life and how they all intersect at the end.
Okay.
So, very good movie, except for Tom Cruise. He's in it, but you can look past that.
I'll try.
All right. Michael Blake. So, 2.5 years ago, you decided you were done with heroin and drugs and alcohol, and you were done with the gay lifestyle.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, it was kind of a divine intervention because I didn't really decide it at all. Because I was in chains to it.
Okay.
I was enslaved to it. April 13th, it was a Friday, I woke up in a garage and I decided last night and then that morning that I was going to go to the Merle Hay Mall to the food court bathrooms.
Yeah.
Because I was closest to that Merle Hay Mall. And I was going to kill myself. I had a bunch of pills and some sharp utensils. And I went all the way to the Merle Hay Mall. One thing I can never figure out why I did what I did, but I'm glad I did, I think, is that I stole some clothes before I went to the bathroom. And because I did, they caught me before I went to the bathroom to go do what I was going to go do. And they figured out who I was. And by that time, 2.5 years ago on April 13th, I had 2 warrants out for my arrest in Boone and in Polk County, so I went to jail for 6 months.
Wow.
And no drug convictions or anything. It was for thefts so I could get drugs, but theft charges. So I'm sitting in Polk County Jail and sobering up. They did not put me in a detox unit. I sobered up cold turkey.
Ooh.
And
from heroin?
Yes.
Oh gosh.
From heroin, and at that point I was shooting up Adderall as well,
Oh.
because it was easier to get a hold of, and other stuff as well that I put in my veins. So I sobered up from all of that. Awful, most awful. I would never, if I had any enemies, never would wish that on anybody. And
why didn't they help you? Didn't they realize that you weren't just sick, that there was something wrong with you?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I wish I knew.
Yeah. Okay.
I was bitter about that for a long time.
Yeah, I'll bet.
And they put me on the top bunk, which probably wasn't safe.
Ooh.
So I eventually it was I don't know, 10 days when the physical part of it was done, but there were still some drawbacks. Well, anyways, eventually a chaplain came. His name was Tony Didlow. And Jerry Van Cleve came to me as well.
Yep, we know Jerry.
And Tony Didlow, though, was the man that came to me, and he spoke to me and said, I didn't ask for him to come at all, but he asked me if I was a good person, and he went through something called the Good Person Test by Ray Comfort and Kirk Cameron, and did it in a very compassionate way. And by the end of the Good Person Test, I had admitted myself that I was a liar, that I was a thief, that I was a murderer at heart, that I was an adulterer at heart, I was a blasphemer, And I was like, oh man, at church, they only just told me that Jesus died on a cross and that was it. You know, they never talked about sin or punishment or any of that stuff that people don't want to hear about. But I heard about it at the right time. And I heard the crushing consequences of sin, but also the love that God has for those who are bad people. He came to save those who are sinners, and I was a sinner. I totally just felt the weight of it at that moment, and asked me, if you were to stand before God today, where would you go? And I couldn't say with a clear conscience, heaven. I couldn't do it. Does that concern you? Yes. He told me about what repentance really was, what faith really was. And he left me on my own, and I thought about it, and I was like, I need to know what the Bible says about homosexuality. If I just knew what it said and that God says it's wrong, like I cared about what the Bible said beforehand, I didn't. But at that moment, I really cared for whatever reason. And someone put me to a passage of 1 Corinthians chapter 6, the whole thing though. And there was obviously in the Corinthian church that there were former practicing homosexuals and drunkards and covetous people, but they were justified, they were sanctified, they were washed clean. And that did it for me. I was like, okay, I want to turn away from that so that I can be with Christ. And that was the game changer, basically, for me. And I left jail. I was looking at prison for 10 years. But by the grace of God, however, I got 3 years probation.
Wow.
And I'm off of it now.
Yeah.
Court costs, though, still. But
yeah.
So I left jail. I told the judge that I do not want to leave jail until there is an open bed in Mecca. And so I waited for 6 months or so.
You stayed in Polk County Jail for 6 months?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I was already there for 3 months waiting for an arraignment, and then another 3 months because I told the judge I didn't want to leave yet.
Now,
she told me I was so weird.
Why?
Yeah, that shows that you really wanted it.
Yeah.
Why didn't you have yourself bailed out?
Well, first of all, there was I called my dad and asked him to bail me out. I even lied about it. Oh, there's guys raping me, and then, I lied. He was like, "No, I'm not gonna do it this time."
Okay.
That was one of the most loving things my dad ever did for me.
Okay.
Not bailing me out, and so that's why I didn't get bailed out. And I went to Mecca eventually, 49 days inpatient treatment. I asked to take it slow, otherwise it would have been a lot less time. And after Mecca, I went to a homeless shelter and lived there, staying sober the whole time. And through a couple that I had met, they told me about Freedom for Youth and about the transitional program. And I was actually a resident there first.
Okay.
And I found out about it. There's a house parent there that I need to get an interview with. And so I got an interview with him. And as soon as I saw him, I was like, that's awesome. You're the guy who shared the gospel with me in jail.
Oh.
I haven't seen you for 6 months. Like, this is awesome.
That's another God thing.
Yeah. And so, and not only that, but my boss now, who was his boss then, she was best friends with my mom in high school. And so she tells me a lot of great stories that I would never know about unless I had found that place. And so there was just like a lot of joy coming from that place. And it was just great to be there. And I've been there. It'll be 2 years in the end of October, I think. So
Michael Blake is our guest, 2.5 years clean and sober and straight. And when we come back, I want you to share your ministry with us and how you really have taken the experiences that you chose for yourself in many cases and now turned them to work for the good of God.
Yep.
Amazing. Good story, huh?
Oh,
Told
yeah.
you you'd like this one.
I know.
Lila Stafford in the house from Powell CDC. Bob Montserrat, the cat in the hat, eating poppy seeds over there. Ryan is producing. I'm J. Michael McCoy. If I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. I love this job, and I couldn't do it without you. Right here on 99.3 KTIA. And we're all powered by WebcastOneLive.com. Thanks for listening, Iowa.
father who is headed toward another heart attack. A woman who struggles daily with diabetes and her memory. A boy whose headaches keep him out of school. A mother who one morning discovers a lump. A girl whose condition defies diagnosis. You come to us because you need answers, but you also need more. You need understanding of what you're going through. You need comfort. You need to be treated as an individual, not a condition. You need to be included in your own care. You are the point of everything we do. That's why we're changing to Unity Point Health. It's a model of care that will help us work better together, where the physician who knows you best takes the lead, coordinating your care through every step, from the hospital to specialists to rehabilitation to health services in the home and in the community, to making sure the treatments are effective. By working as a team, we surround you with care, helping you manage your health and your conditions, guiding you to making better choices and living a healthier life. The point of Unity is you. Unity Point Health.
Get away from my Sumito credit card. We don't have any more money. We're in trouble now. Save us! Help! Somebody save us! Somebody help! Help! Save us!
Hi, I'm Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of Des Moines. If your credit card's a little too animated, give us a call.
Hooray! We're saved! Consumer Credit, you're our hero!
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Welcome back. We are back on Recovery Monday on this 22nd day of September in the Lord's year 2014. I'm J. Michael McCoy. Ryan, do you still have the camera in the studio that you can turn on yourself?
It is physically here, but it is broken.
I can't hear you.
It's broken.
No, okay. Because I'd like to show off his new haircut. Are you responsible for that?
No, one of the guys in the house did it. That's what happens when we leave him.
He's got like
home
a
by
skunk
themselves.
mohawk.
It's cute on him.
Oh, don't encourage him. Have your parents seen that yet? What'd they think? Not very good, did they? No, I didn't. Look who you're hanging around with now, all these drug addicts and that. Yeah, Ryan's a good guy. All right, our guest today is Michael Blake, 24 years old, 2.5 years sober, clean, and straight. Lived a gay lifestyle for 10 years?
Yeah,
okay,
something like that.
And God has changed your heart, and you're attracted to women now.
Mhm.
And at some point, you hope to find your soulmate.
Yeah.
And have babies and make a family. What did you think you wanted to do for a living when you were growing up? If Grandma would have said, "So what do you want to be when you grow up, Michael?"
Oh, I probably wouldn't have told her, but I was not a very positive person when I was
Okay.
growing up. I wanted to be a part of the 27 Club with Janis Joplin, and that was where my life was at. I wanted to be a part of that club. I didn't have any dreams.
Okay, I'm sorry. Do you know what the 27 Club is?
Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison all died at the age of 27 due to
heroin.
And
Drug
so that was my, and there was more than just those people too.
All right. And now God has delivered you from your hurts, habits, and hangups, and brought you to a place that, my words, not yours, but you seem perfect for.
Yeah, God's allowed me to go through a mighty big storm and has helped me learn a lot of things. But yeah, we get a bunch of guys coming off the streets, rehabs, prisons that are going through similar things, battles that I used to be in, a part of. And it's just really great to be countercultural for the sake of Christ in our community. And so it's just really great to be that.
And you're a house manager
Mm-hmm.
for a place under Freedom for Youth, and you bring in guys coming out of rehab, guys coming out of prison, homeless people, etc. What do you share with them? What do you teach them? I mean, get down into your heart. What's the most important message you can give them?
The gospel, the
Okay.
true, pure, unadulterated gospel.
Which is?
That Christ is fully God and fully man and came to this earth to die on a cross for the sake of us. He saved us from the wrath of God, and he has made it so that we are no longer children of wrath. We are no longer hostility towards God. God's no longer at war with us, but we're at peace with him because of what Christ has done. And in him we can be justified by faith, and we can be sanctified and one day glorified. And that's my message in a nutshell. There's so much more to it. There's so much more to it, which is just beautiful. I could talk about that for
So do
days.
most of these guys want to hear this, or do they know what they're getting into before they come?
I do tell them. We go to church every Sunday. We do Bible studies every day. It is a Christ-centered home. It's a discipleship program. You know, I will let them know. It doesn't really turn off people that much. So they kind of just do it, and sometimes they just do it just so they have a place to live, which is
Yeah.
okay. That's
They're
understandable.
getting the message somehow.
But there's still a seed being planted, and whether they take that to someone else or they keep that for themselves, or whatever happens, I just want to do what God has called me to do faithfully, whether a lot of people listen or none listen, like with Jeremiah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it no matter what.
I love
But they
that
come
story.
to you on all different levels at different places.
Yep.
I mean, I doubt if any of them are where you are at this place in your life, but
correct.
Yeah.
And we also offer not just, I shouldn't say not just, but we offer the gospel, and we also offer job skills. They work on campus 8 to 3 Monday through Friday, and they get job references from people's staff there that they may not have had in the past year due to some things that they were involved with, and a home.
Who funds this place?
You do. We do.
Okay.
40 different churches are sponsoring us. Lutheran Church of Hope is one of them.
Yeah.
All different kinds of churches help sponsor us, and some places that aren't a Christ-centered business whatsoever. They just love what we're doing with the community, and so.
Yeah, one of my I collect crosses. I love that image, and not crucifix, because I was raised Episcopalian, so a cross always had a body hanging on it, and I'm not into that. But one of my favorite crosses you guys made.
Really?
Freedom from Youth, yeah, hangs in my living room.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah,
cool.
So what do you think God has in store for you? I mean, you're 24 years old. You're a baby.
Yep.
So what do you see yourself going to ministry, going to seminary? Do you?
I would love to go to seminary. That's like a really big passion of mine. 'Cause
Okay.
I love digging as deep as possible into the Word of God and learning what it says for myself instead of getting spoon-fed all the time.
Yeah.
That's my biggest passion. But right at this moment, I love where I'm at and trying to get more guys into the house and discipling them and pointing them towards the cross. And I have a really big passion in today's world because there are many false teachers, and we have the Word of God, which is true, which exposes them, and that's my main purpose right now. That's what I want to do.
You a big Joel Osteen fan?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Nope.
All right. Michael Blake has been our guest. 24 years old. Clean, sober, and straight. That ought to be the name of your book. Clean, sober, and straight.
Yep.
2.5 years. If there's a parent or someone out there who loves a child very, very much, and that child has decided they're gay, what advice would you give to that parent, that friend, that grandma?
I would probably encourage them to go outside of their comfort zone a little bit and share truth with them with words, but also they need to back it up with the actions. They need to back it up with the love of Christ. They need gospel is to be proclaimed with words, and we're to proclaim with our actions what Christ has done. And so that would be my biggest advice. And then you planted the seed, you did what you were supposed to do. You can't save them, and you need to make sure that you remember that God is sovereign and you are not.
Yeah.
And you just need to love them where they're at.
Now, the guy who planted the seed in you, Tony.
Yep.
Is he still around?
He is. He actually lives down the street from us now.
Oh, really?
And he goes to First Family, and he has his own outreach, Saving Faith outreach. He does a lot of evangelism down on the streets and stuff.
Tom Urban was on the show last Friday.
Yeah, Tom Urban goes to First Family too.
Yeah.
Yep. And so, he has been a big part in my life, like discipling me, and I love the guy.
Well, Michael, thank you for sharing your story. You're welcome here anytime. God loves you. I love you. Thanks for being here. Lila, thanks for being here today. Bob?
Yes.
Oh, I want to make sure you're still there. Thanks for being here today, Robert.
Sure.
Ryan, thanks for being here, and I'll challenge you. Until you see me again, think of that one person that you can't stand, that you can't forgive, that you carry a resentment. Tonight, on your knees in front of Jesus, forgive them.